No, Larry, I don't think the filler at the end of the episode is very necessary. Well, no, Norman, okay, listen, I understand it's not really filler, it's in the manga, but it happens much later in the manga. There's no reason why Ginjo had to go back to Execution main headquarters in that episode. No reason. They should have just ended the episode with Ichigo about to kick some ass. But no, they had to show off all the Execution members for some reason. I don't know. Okay, Larry, listen, I understand. I like the episode. I like the episode, but what the fuck am I even doing? Really? Talking to stuffed animals now? That's my skit? I thought this was gonna be funny, pretty much. Like, oh, I'm gonna go up there, and I have all these stuffed animals from Halloween in my Halloween decorations, and I thought, how am I gonna work these into the show? So here's Larry, the happy werewolf, and Norman, the Frankenstein monster, if he turned orange. I named them when I was 7. Cut me a break. Yeah, you're not gonna be seeing these guys anymore. So. New intro. Go watch that, and we'll come back here and talk about the chapter. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, going to do Bleach Chapter 468 entitled Raid as a Blade. Cool chapter. Made me think of Beyblades, and I like Beyblades. That was a good game. Not as good as Yu-Gi-Oh, but oh, my childhood. Anyway, okay, chapter starts off with Byakuya and Tsukishima, their battleground, and we had no Ruki and Ryuka in this. I'm like, really? You're going to skip over that fight to show the Tsukishima fight, the fight that should be near the end. You're going to skip over the Rukia fight for this. Whatever. Byakuya is saying that Tsukishima is standing too far away to cut him. Tsukishima says if he steps any closer, then Byakuya will get him with his Senbon Zakura, which, don't really know, because we never really ever explained that Senbon Zakura has a range that it can go a certain distance and then stops, but apparently it does. So then, a leaf falls, and Tsukishima cuts it. The point to that is, I don't really know. He cuts a leaf. They don't really reference it later or anything. He just decides to cut a leaf. Okay. So he asks Byakuya if that meant anything to him, which it shouldn't. Then he cuts the ground, comes at him. Byakuya's just like, I don't think it would be wise to think that anything you're doing is meaningless. Except the leaf, because it's a leaf. We'd have no reference to it later on. I don't know why they showed that. But, so Tsukishima steps forward, Byakuya activates his Shikai, and Tsukishima evades it by using his... You know, I don't know, they still haven't named this technique. If it's called full bring jump, or bringer jump, or something. They name the thing. They name it's called bringer light, but they don't name the actual technique itself. But whatever, he uses that to jump away from him. Senbon Zakura follows him, and that dissolves to the title. Yeah. So then we cut back over to Mo and Ikaku. I don't know why, but we'll get to that. There's really no point to this, but we'll get to that later. Mo grabs Ikaku's ankle, and he has that moment like, oh, wait a second, I'm not defeated yet, I can still fight you. So Ikaku's just like, give up, I'm not going to continue a fight that's not worth dying for. And Mo gets really defensive about these. He's like, I've already decided to throw my life away for Tsukishima-san if he asks. Okay, now, here... I had kind of like a glimmer of the reason why they put this scene in the chapter. Maybe it was going to be because, oh, Mo's going to go on a spiel about Tsukishima, and he's going to say how Tsukishima's powerful and what his secret power is, and, you know, all that stuff. No, this is the most informative we get. Ikaku says, is Tsukishima really important to put your life at stake? And Mo just says, yeah, he's fucking strong. That's all we get, folks. Any kind of insight on Tsukishima's power? Nah, just, he's fucking strong. Whatever. So, Ikaku says again, I'm not asking if you're willing to die, I'm asking if Tsukishima's willing to die for you. And Mo's just like, that's not the point. Even if he doesn't die, I can still die for him. Why? Why? Okay, just because Tsukishima's stronger? I mean, we don't really know the relationship between these two. I don't know why Tsukishima would just take passing interest in this random high school student just because he can do full bring. But, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he treats, like, at the beginning I thought maybe they were related somehow, like brothers or father and son. I don't think father and son, but some kind of relation. Because, you know, he obeys him, you know, he just obeys him blindly, and he's willing to die for him. Maybe Tsukishima used his Book of the End on Mo. That would make a lot of sense. But I have some feeling that no, like, Mo's following him for some other reason, but we really don't find that out. We just find out that he is willing to die for him just because he's strong. I don't know. And Ikaku basically explains this in his terms by shouting, "Idiot!" He says, "No lives are superior or equal. People should risk their lives equally." That's how it's supposed to be. And if Tsukishima was basically your older brother, would he come and save you? And if you can answer this, then we'll continue the fight. And yeah, he doesn't do that, so we can assume that he basically came to his senses here, that him risking his life for someone for no real purpose isn't much of a good move there. Though we cut back to Tsukishima and Byakuya's fight, and Byakuya's like, "Do you finally understand?" In the last attack that, right before it wiped away from the title page, I guess his last attack sliced the building in half, and Byakuya just says, "You're not able to cut me, you can't even get close to me." And he's like, and Tsukishima just says, "Yeah, there." So then right when he says that, Byakuya steps on a switch that releases the, I guess the stone pillar behind him, and that collapses on him. He evades it, and Byakuya's like, "How did this happen?" And Tsukishima's just like, "I set that up." When? In the past. Right when Tsukishima said that, in the past, I knew where he was going with this. And I'm like, okay, if you're really going this route, you better have a pretty good way of explaining how this works. And it doesn't. Let's continue. He says, "My power of the Book of the End allows me to insert myself into the past of those I cut. It made it so I've already been here in the past. Because he cut the ground." Ah. Okay. Number one. Because I got a few flaws with this. Just a few. Number one. This is Yukio's made-up dimension. He created it less than an hour ago. How could you insert yourself into the past when all the time you've been there, it's just been Byakuya and you? Now, if this was outside in the regular world, that I might be able to understand a little bit more. But, once again, this is Yukio's made-up world. Does it even have the properties of a regular, you know, world? Number two. How would you know where he was going to land? Because let's think about this. He cuts the ground, and then Byakuya attacks him with Senbon Sakura. They do that little jump in the air. Tsukishima lands. He has no idea of knowing where he's going to land. So he cut the ground beforehand, so he inserted himself into the past. I get that. But it happened before he knew where Byakuya was going to stand. Unless he put, like, you know, like, contraptions everywhere all over the battlefield. That would make more sense. But even so, how did you even set that up? You went, okay, you went into the past, I get that, but how did you, you know, did you go to Home Depot and pick up some tools and come back to the made-up dimension that I don't care, I'm not going to bother with it. You know, I'm not going to get obsessed with stuff that happens in a manga that we're probably never going to find out about. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. Tsukishima's a genie. There, he's a genie. That's how he did it. Okay. As long as nothing else happens in this chapter where stuff that can't be explained, I'll be good. Shut up. Okay. So Byakuya asks him, "Does your power work with inorganic matter as well?" And Tsukishima's just like, "Well, I don't remember saying that it doesn't." That would be a yes. That's what you say, is yes. I love that. With Aizen did it too. He has to answer all his questions in sentence form. He can't just say, yes, no. It has to be like, oh, I never said no or yes, so, well, I did say that, but I didn't say this, and whatever. Stoic villains all have a similar mindset. Well, Byakuya attacks him again with his Senbon Sakura. Tsukishima shows up behind him, and here's another thing I don't get. He says he cuts his sword, but I don't see a part where he cut his sword. Did he cut just the like the Senbon Sakura, like a, like, you know, like the fragments, like the cherry blossoms? Did he cut the cherry blossom, or did he cut the sword itself? Whatever, it doesn't matter. He cuts the sword in some form. And now, he says, your blade won't be able to hit me again, because your sword and your techniques, I've already seen them over and over. And then we see a little splat of blood, I guess. I don't know, or is that just an SFX? I don't know. Okay. That's the end of the chapter. And I have no idea what just happened. I don't. Okay. Putting aside the fact of what he did with the area, like the zone or whatever, like he cut the ground, that made him insert himself into the grounds past, I don't know. Then he went and set up all the Scooby-Doo traps, whatever, I don't care about that. The thing I don't get is, he cut Byakuya's sword, and he says, you can't hurt me because I've already been in that sword's past before. I already seen all your techniques. Okay. Number one, does that mean that he knows all of his, every single technique, not just the ones he's used? Does he know Bankai? Does he know about Senkei? Or the white wing thing, Shuke Haku Taken? Does he know about that? Or Gokei? He doesn't know anything, because Byakuya didn't use them. He just used his sword, Senbon Sakura. Does he know about that? And number two, here's the thing I don't get. He inserted himself into the sword's past, but Byakuya still is fine. How can the sword be used without Byakuya? A sword, he inserted himself into an inanimate object. The inanimate object can't swing itself. You know what I'm saying? Like he's in the sword's past, but someone still has to be swinging the sword to show the techniques. Was that Byakuya? Does he just not remember? Once again, I'm probably overanalyzing this. I mean, I'm putting too much thought into this. It's just a manga, but I can't make heads or tails of this. I can't. What the hell? I mean, the basic idea is Tsukishima knows all of Byakuya's techniques. That's the basic gist. I get that. Just the point of him. This whole thing went downhill ever since he said, I can cut inanimate objects with my sword. Like, if I had Tsukishima's book at the end, and then I cut this pumpkin, then the pumpkin will change. The hell? What about my tie? Huh. That's, interesting. The rest of the chapter, I found the Mo and Ikaku thing completely pointless. I don't know why we need to see that. I mean, like I said, if Mo actually contributed to the plot and said, like, oh, I follow Tsukishima because he has, like, this wicked secret power or something, that would make more sense. But really, we had no need for it. We just had to, but if nothing else, I hope nothing else, it closed up that fight so we don't see them anymore. Next chapter. I don't know. Because knowing Bleach, how it usually works is, when we have a cliffhanger like this, we don't find out the next chapter. Not right away, anyway. And there's no other fights to look at except Ginjo and Ichigo's. And I swear, if that one is next chapter, I'm giving up hope on Ruki and Riruka. I just want to see two girls fighting each other. I don't really see how... Well, that came out wrong. I don't really see what the big deal about that is. So, yeah, if we could get their fight next chapter, please, that'd be super. Whatever. So, yeah. Tekking101, signing out. Oh, my head hurts.